All right, guys. So in the last video, we learned about select menus, and today we will learn about modals, because these are also very useful to take input from the user in a very professional way, and you should know how to use them, because they are used in many places and can be very useful. So today, instead of just creating a modal, we will build a suggestion system in which we will take input from the user and then send it to a channel in the server. So yay, let us start creating this. So now I will create a / command. So for that I will go to the commands folder, then into the community folder, and create a file named suggest.js. And then first, we will write our basic code, which I hope you already know, where first we will define / command builder, then module exports, and then data, new / command builder, and set name. And I will keep the name suggest then in set description. I will write suggest something for this server, and now async execute an interaction. Simple as that. So now our plan is that when a user runs this command, they will get an embed with a button attached. And on clicking that button, a modal will open where they can write their suggestion and then submit it. And on submitting, we will reply to the user, "Thanks for your suggestion." And whatever they suggested will be sent to a channel in the server. So for that first, we will create an embed for which we will define embed builder, and then const embed equals new embed builder, and write a title for the embed, and also a description, like click the button below to suggest. All right, so now our / command is created, and our embed is also created. Now we need to create a button, which when clicked, will open the modal. And remember, the button is not necessary. You can directly create a modal here, and it will open when the command is run. But because we are making a system, I am opening it on button click. So first I will define button builder, then button style, and action row builder, because we need these things to create buttons. After that, const button equals new button builder. And first, we set the custom ID of the button, then the button label, which I will set to suggest, and then the style, which I will set to primary. And after that, we simply make a new row variable. And using action row builder, we add the button component. Yay. That is pretty much it. And now we want this button attached with the embed and sent. So for that, await interaction, reply. And here first in embeds, we give our embed, and then in components, we give our button very cool. And now if we save the file and go to our terminal and run the bot and wait a little for it to start, then go to Discord. And because we made a new / command, we restart by pressing Ctrl+R so that the / command loads. And now if I type / suggest and run it, you will see it gives the embed we made, and along with it the button. But right now, clicking the button does nothing, because we have not written the next logic, right? So to write the next logic, we will go back to our Visual Studio Code. And because button click triggers the interaction event, and we want to open the modal when that event is triggered. So for that first, we go to our events folder. And here I create a file named button interaction.js, in which I will write module exports, and then our event name, which is interaction create. And then I will add some if conditions that we should always add. Otherwise, we will get interaction errors. So the first condition I add is if it is not a button, then return. And if the custom it is not our button 1, then also return. And now we will create our modal. So first you will see this picture. So we call this our full modal and this text. My modal written here is called the modal title, and then the text written below are called text input builders. And we have two types of text input builder. One is short text, and the other is paragraph. The difference is that if we need long inputs from the user, we use the second one, which is paragraph text input builder. Then this text like, what is your favorite color? And what are some of your favorite hobbies? These are called labels of text input builder. We can also set placeholders and default values, which I will show you later how to do. All right, so to create a modal, first we need to define modal builder, then text input builder, and then text input style. And because modal builder is also a component, we also define action row builder, because with that, we can add and send components, right? All right, so first to create a new modal, we make a new variable named modal, and then new modal builder, same as embed builder and button builder. After that, we set the custom of the modal. And then to set the modal title, we use setTitle and give the title so our modal is created. But we also need to add a text input. You can add multiple, but for now we only need one text input to take the suggestion from the user. So to create a new text input, we make a variable const suggestion input, and then new text input builder. After that, we also set the custom for it, and then we set its label, which I will write as please. Type in the box below. And because the suggestion can be long, we need a paragraph text input. So to set that, we use set style and then text input style.paragraph. So our text input will be a paragraph text input, and that is pretty much it. Now we simply create a new row, and using action row builder like buttons, we add this component too. But one more thing, we created a modal, then created a text input, and we added the text input to a row. But we also need to add this text input row inside the modal. So for that, we write modal.add components and add our input inside the modal. That is it. And lastly, to show the modal to the user, we use await, interaction, show modal, and in the brackets, we pass the modal we want to show. Sorry, my mistake. We need to add the action row we created into the modal, not the text input. So here I will write row, and that's it. And here we go. Our modal is created. So now if I save the file, restart the bot, and go to Discord, and click the button, you'll see whatever we set and how we made our modal. Everything comes exactly as created. But now let us look at some more options, like how to set placeholders, limits, and other stuff. All right, so now if I go into my code and show you, then you can set a placeholder using set placeholder. And here I write start typing, and then you can also set a value that will already be in the input if you want. But the user can remove it and type their own text. After that, you can use set required if you want the user to be forced to type something in this field. So, yeah, these are some options you have. And also, if you want to set a length like minimum this much and maximum this much, you can also do that using set min length and set max length. All right, very cool. So now our next step was to take the user input and send it to a channel, right? So now we will handle that. And because the modal also triggers the interaction. Create event, you have two ways. Either create a new file for modal or write it in the same file. So because this is a single system and the code is not too big, I will write it here instead of creating a new file. But we need to manage the code a little because here we wrote that if interaction is not a button, then return. So modal interaction will never work. So here we go. And add an or condition and say interaction is modal submit. So now we said that if the interaction is not a button or modal, then return. So this means if it is either button or modal, let the code run. So all right, this will work now. But when it checks custom id for modal, it will not work, right? So for that, we modify this. and say, if interaction.custom_id equals button, then in brackets, we put the button code, and then we add else. If interaction.custom_id equals our modal ID, then we open a new block, all right? So now what will happen is, when the interaction is created and the code continues, if the button was clicked, then the first code runs. And if the modal was submitted, then the second block runs. Very cool. All right, now we need to start writing our code. So first we need the user input, right? So for that, we make a variable const, user input. And in this variable, we save the user input so we can send it to another channel. And to take the user input, we write interaction fields, get text, input value. So we are using interaction to get the value of fields, something like this. And in the brackets, we give the custom id of the text input. We want the value from. So we go back to our text input. And here's our custom id that we need. Because the user will write their suggestion here. So we copy this ID and paste it here. And that is it. It is that easy. And now we have the user input. Now we just need to send this input to another channel. So for that, I go to Discord and make a suggestions channel and copy its ID like this by right-clicking. And now I go to my code and make a variable channel id and save my channel ID there. And then we need the channel. So we make another variable const channel. And then we need client to get the channel. So here we also pass client with a comma so we can use it. And then client.channels.cache.get with our channel ID. And now we also have the channel. And now, simply using await channel, send, we send the suggestion that the user gave us, which we saved in our variable. That is it. Now let us test. Before testing, if I show you, there is an issue. And we made a mistake by writing the if condition like this, because when the button is clicked, this file is running, right? And we are also creating the modal on button click. So when the modal was being submitted, this code was not running. That is why we added the if condition, that if it is a button interaction, then this code runs, which creates our modal. And then when the modal is submitted, this code runs. Everything else is exactly the same. So now if I go to Discord and click the suggest button, you will see our placeholder is also showing. And I type something random and submit. And you will see it has been sent to our channel. But one issue is after submitting it, gives us an error, which we do not want. This happens because we managed everything on the back end, but we did not show a success message to the user. So for that, we come back, and before sending the message to the channel, we write, await interaction, reply, your suggestion is submitted. And now if I go to Discord and click the suggest button, type a suggestion and submit, you will see that now our system is working properly. All right. So if you want to learn more deeply, then I have attached the Discord.js guide link in the description. For Modals, do check it out. And if you are liking the series, then like the video and subscribe to the channel. And do not forget to check out our Discord and Patreon from the description.